Hello. Today I'll be doing just a quick update on what I've been reading. This is very much like my normal structure of reading update and then a very small book haul. To get started, the book that I have been reading and am partly through is very appropriate for the October season. And it is the Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. This book came out, I think, in September sometime. I know it's been a little bit, but not too long. But as you can see from this cover, it's very October appropriate, kind of a creepy cover. I have actually read all of Leigh Bardugo's other books, except I think she wrote like a Wonder Woman story. I have not read that, but aside from that, I have read all her other books, so it was high time to get to this one. And this book is particularly up my alley. It's set during the Inquisition in Madrid, and we follow a scullery maid who has some magical abilities, but obviously she keeps them hidden because it's the time of the Inquisition, and the line between miracles from God and witchcraft and heresy is very thin. So I don't want to give too much of the plot away. I am actually only this far in, so I'm not that far into it. This is the Waterstones edition, by the way. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. I actually have a few copies of this book because I collect Leigh Bardugo books, and I was sort of banking that I would love this one just because the synopsis sounded so good. And so far, I am winning with that. I'm really liking it. I really love this cover with like the creepy hand and the scorpion. Not so much the scorpion, but I can appreciate the aesthetics of the scorpion. But anyways, her name is, I think, Louisa? Something like that. Let me look. Luzia. And she works in this not very noble household. But then her mistress, I guess, finds out about her like magical abilities, and Luzia kind of gets swept into this competition to perform miracles before the king. So a patron comes and sponsors her, and along with him there is a man who works for the patron called, I won't tell you what his name is, but he is the titular familiar. Very creepy, very mysterious, definitely some supernatural stuff going on there. It's wonderfully spooky and engaging. This book in particular is very my style because it's slower for sure. it might take a second to like adjust to the world. And I wouldn't say its plot is quick, but I really like my fantasy that way, especially historical fantasy. So I'm really enjoying it. And at this point here, I'm now fully invested and I am excited to pick it up all the time. So yeah, this is what I am currently reading. Really liking it. Not to spoil anything, but if you like maybe vampire vibes, that doesn't spoil anything, but I think you'd like this book. It just has that feel to it, that gothic feel. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this one so far. Oh my gosh, it is one of those covers that like when you put your fingerprint down, it shows, so hopefully that will disappear because that will bug me. But yeah, this is what I am currently reading. Very excited to get to it and finish it. So the next portion will now be a haul, because you know I cannot be stopped. Actually, in the mail recently, I got a book, and that book is the third in a series. This is Wisteria, I think is how you say that. Love the cover. This is the Fairy Loot edition. Yeah, this is a series by Adeline Grace. The first book is very popular online. I think it's called Belladonna. I've just been collecting the Fairy Loot editions of this series. I have a friend who really likes it, so I took the risk, and so I think it's just a trilogy. I believe this is the last book. But I really love the fox and the bunny imagery, very foresty vibes. These are the pages. Obviously, I will not read anything about this book because it's the third in the series, and I don't want to spoil anything for myself either. So, I purposefully don't know a lot about the plot of this book. I've been dodging like premises for years now, I guess. I just know it has to do something with death and that it's a young adult fantasy. And that's all I really want to know. So, yeah, if you like this series, I'd love to know if you do, but just no spoilers if you don't mind. More like if you're interested in it or if you've heard of it, you know, your non-spoiler thoughts. Let's see if there's, I don't know if there's any artwork on the inside. I'm honestly a little scared. Doesn't look spoilery though, so. Oh, it's really pretty on the inside. Hold on. So this is what the naked hardcover looks like. It's really, really pretty. It has this like beautiful floral design and the title on it. I don't know, I really like this. It's pretty. Wisteria. Very purple. And I think the inside, yeah, the papers have art as well. Very pretty. It's giving me fairy tale vibes. Just the style of the art. Really pretty. So I am excited to get to this series at some point. There's always so many books that I want to get to in like the fall season, but it's the age-old problem of not enough time, too many books. Or I think I reversed that. Too many books, not enough time. Like there's so many books that I want to get to over the fall era. But you know what? There's winter too. Winter is valid. I love winter. And the next two are actually recent releases, and they are paperbacks. If you've seen any of my book hauls before, you'll know that I'm not really a paperback person. I love to read them, but aesthetically and like for my collecting desires, I usually go with hardcovers. But sometimes a book is only in paperback, so you know, I bite the bullet. And secretly they are easier to read, so I do enjoy that. So the first book is a recent release called Sorcery and Small Magics by, I think it's Maiga Ducey. I could be saying that wrong. I really love this cover. I know it's queer and it's about sorcery, and that's all I know. And I've been looking forward to it for a long time, just because the cover and the premise that I think I knew at one point. I think it's two rival sorcerers. Yeah, that's all I need to know. You don't need to tell me anymore. Like that's all I need. I love like the dogs at the bottom. I think that's really cool. They could be wolves. Something about paperbacks is that I'm always scared of bending their spines. I really admire people who don't mind their book spines being broken. I feel like that takes gusto, a kind of bravery that I do not have. But yeah, I'm very, very excited for this book. I really don't want to tell you much about it because, you know what, I can tell you this one small blurb. I don't think it's spoilery at all, so it just says, when two rival sorcerers are bound together by a curse and forced on a quest deep into the perilous forest to find a counterspell, they may find that magic is not the only thing pulling them together in this enchanting tale from debut author Maiga Ducey. A forest fantasy? A queer sorcery forest fantasy? Say no more. Like, I don't need to hear anything else. I won't spoil which box, but I'm pretty sure there's a book box that's doing a special edition of this book that I'm getting. So, technically, I didn't really need to buy this, and I probably shouldn't have. But the evil within, you know, it just said that I needed it. Just because, again, like I feel like I'm really gonna like it, and maybe I'll want to, you know, annotate or something. Or maybe I'll want to copy to like loan to a friend, or like this can be my reading copy And the other one can be my collector's copy. It's a dangerous route of thought to go down, I won't lie. I just couldn't help it, okay? I couldn't say no. And I think another reason, or like another factor that made me want to get the paperback is because the next book is also a fantasy and looks really nice next to it, and it's the same size. And like the spines look nice together. And as soon as I saw them together, I was like, well, they look so good together on a shelf, you know? Like, tell me that wouldn't look nice next to each other. I think they do, so I had to do it. I couldn't not. But to tell you about this next book, this is also a recent release that I'm very excited for. It's called The Scholar and the Last Fairy Door by H.G. Perry. I know H.G. Perry has written fantasy before. I think some chunky fantasy too. See if I can remember the titles. I think I actually own one of them. Yeah, they wrote A Declaration of the Rights of Magicians, and then A Radical Act of Free Magic, which was the follow-up to that book. And I think I either have or I once had that book. I think I decided to sell it and then get like an e-copy because it was really chunky and I was trying to be good. But this book just sounded too good to pass up. I was like, it's a paperback. And the premise, just even the title, just got me alone. It's set in 1920 in England. Look, I'm a sucker for a historical fantasy. If you throw me a historical fantasy, I will want to read it. Any historical period, anytime, add in fantasy, I am there. This one says, all they needed to break the world was a door and someone to open it. It says, Camford, 1920. Gilded and glittering, England's secret magical academy is no place for Clover, a commoner. She's there only to find a cure for her brother Matthew, one of the few survivors of a deadly fairy attack on the battlefields of World War I. We're mixing fairy creatures with real history. I won't read any more than that because I kind of, well, you know what, I'll keep reading. It says, when Clover catches the eye of golden boy Alden Leno Fontaine, hopefully I said that right, and his friends, doors that were previously closed to her are flung wide open. But during the summer she spends in Alden's orbit, old and deadly secrets are unearthed. The consequences will only be truly understood many years later, when it's too late. It says, step into a mythic tale of secret scholarship, fairy curses, and the deadliest spells of all, the ones that friends cast on each other. This one has a ton of blurbs from authors. We've got Olivia Atwater, Kat Howard, Rowena Miller, Ryan Groudon, and a couple others. So I'm so excited. I gotta be honest with you. These are two of my most anticipated books of the year for the last 3 months. I really hope to get to both of them because they both sound so good. So good. Like, this is my era of fantasy. Like, this is my subgenre. This is where I like to live, in this subgenre of fantasy specifically. I'm just, like, even holding them, I'm just very excited to read them. I want to read them now, but I'm also really enjoying the familiar. Like, I'm really liking this book so far, so happiness or more happiness, you know. So I'm hoping I'll have a good last couple months of the reading year. I will say back to this one, I think someone said that this is maybe Leigh Bardugo's least loved book so far, at least fantasy. I've heard some mixed reviews. I would say if you like slow fantasy, like character driven but not too plot heavy, like world building and character driven is how I would describe this, and kind of on the slower side. Not excruciatingly slow, but like if you like Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, you probably will not like this book. It just, like, in terms of like a quick plot and like the pace. But if you like slower fantasy, like maybe more literary leaning fantasy, I think you'll like this. So yeah, this is very, very much my style. I feel like she wrote this for me, so thank you, Leigh Bardugo. But yeah, that is it for this video. I do at some point want to give the rest of my like fall winter recommendations. I just haven't had time to like organize them all. So look out for that if you're interested. Let me know. But yeah, that is it for today. Kind of a shorter one this time, but I will be back with more. So thank you for watching. If you've read any of these books, or if you're like also interested in any of these, I'd love to know. I'm always happy to talk books with people, so especially if you're like a fellow fantasy fan. I'm always up for talking fantasy. So again, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day or night or wherever you are. Thanks.